Next on Worcester News tonight, the Pawtucket Red Sox are looking at a smaller piece of land in Worcester than originally discussed. Plus, racist and anti-Semitic stickers discovered on buildings around a local university campus. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Protests in the NFL Sunday have been stirring up mixed reviews from people across the country, including here in central Massachusetts. Tonight, we're hearing from a local business owner on why he will not air football games at his bar this weekend. Our Cam JANDROW caught up with him today and has more. Cam?
Anna, 2 days later, and Sunday's NFL protests are still one of the hottest topics in the country right now. Here in Worcester County, a local business owner is taking a stand against the league for what he believes is right.
Mike Cooley will not show NFL games in his LEOMINSTER bar this Sunday. The Monument Tap making the decision in response to recent protests from NFL players and teams. Hundreds of players knelt during the national anthem Sunday. It's something Cooley did not expect to see.
Shocked, but I think more saddened that, you get these guys that are getting paid millions of dollars, and they have no problem taking the American money, but then they want to protest and say how bad that our country is.
Cooley believes kneeling during the national anthem is disrespectful to the servicemen and women in the country. He says he made the decision to turn off the NFL this weekend based on his love of the American flag.
It's meant to unify, it's not meant to divide. And I think that right now the NFL players, a lot of the media are using that flag to divide people rather than bring people together. And it's just not right.
Meanwhile, other sports bars like 3G's in Worcester will air NFL games as usual. Bar manager Anthony BELSITO says the situation is complicated and they aren't getting involved.
There's no right answer here. That's the problem. So it's super complicated. We basically just hope that they figure out whatever they're going to do with it, get it over with, and we can keep going on with football as usual, because obviously everybody loves football.
As for Cooley, he says even though football is popular, he doesn't believe his decision will impact business.
A lot of people said that was kind of crazy to make this kind of a move with only being here 5 months. But like I say, we're only staying away from the football games just for one day to take a break.
Now, Cooley says instead of football, the bar will be showing other sports and also have some live entertainment on Sunday. But the Monument Tap will go back to showing NFL football when Week 4 wraps up. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. The Pawtucket Red Sox are looking for a new ballpark and perhaps a possible move from their home in Rhode Island. And last month, some Worcester City councilors supported a resolution asking the city manager to do what he can to attract the Paw Sox to the city. Tonight, the city manager's office confirms the team is looking at a small piece of land in Worcester than originally discussed. The new location is across the street from the old Wyman Gordon lot, which was the city's original selling point. The city has confirmed in the past they've been in talks with the team and say Worcester is the right destination if the team decides to leave Rhode Island. New today, the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce and the Rhode Island Building and Trades Council both endorsed a plan to build a new stadium for the Paw Sox in Pawtucket. Racist and anti-Semitic stickers are discovered on buildings around the Clark University campus. In a statement from President David Angel, he says the stickers were posted by an outside group called Vanguard America, a white nationalist group who has posted on other college campuses over the past year. Angel says in part, "We combat hate by raising our voices and by reaffirming the values of diversity, inclusion, and respect that bring strength to our community." The school has not yet identified the person or persons from the group who put the stickers up. They are offering support for students who may have felt an impact. Massachusetts Wildlife is warning drivers to be on the lookout for moose. They say this time of year the animal may be traveling long distances, and with the days getting shorter, it may be more difficult to see them. Our Catherine Andrioli spoke with wildlife experts today and has more.
Traffic and crossing major roads is the biggest issue with moose.
Wildlife experts are warning drivers of an animal on the move around Central Mass roads this time of year. They say it can cause injury, even death, if you aren't careful.
His legs are so long that his body is at the level of your windshield. And if your car hits that moose, he's going to come straight through that windshield and land in your lap.
Last week, Mass Wildlife responded after this moose was seen trotting along West Boylston Street in Worcester near a highway.
And then it continued to move north kind of along the I-90 corridor and eventually moved off into the forest.
Several months ago, a driver was injured after a moose crossed Route 9 in Westboro. Biologist Dave Waddle says it's not the first and certainly won't be the last moose sighting. He says the animals travel long distances during mating season.
This time of year, male moose are traveling long distances. It's their mating season. It's not unusual for them to travel 10 to 15 miles in a day this time of year.
Mating season can also cause the animals to be more aggressive.
The bulls, the male moose, are defending territory now, and so they're going to be a little bit more aggressive than they would normally.
Biologists say the animals are difficult to see at night. They want drivers to be careful when driving in wooded areas.
With deer, you can typically see the reflection of their eyes, the eye shine in your headlights as you drive around. Moose being that much taller, it's difficult to see that reflection, so they can be tough to see along highways. It is more a time where you're more likely to encounter moose, so slowing down and being watchful to try to avoid potential collisions is definitely a wise thing.
In Worcester, Catherine Andrioli, Worcester News Tonight.
We're learning new information about the murder of Princeton jogger Vanessa Marcotte. Court documents show investigators found gasoline and a common ingredient found in bug spray on her. The 27-year-old was found murdered a half a mile from her mother's home last year. Angelo Colon Ortiz has been charged with her murder. He's pleaded not guilty. Harrington Healthcare System in Southbridge and Webster is increasing its security measures after a nurse was assaulted over the summer. Harrington says in a press release, the new measures included limited visitor access and subjecting everyone in all bags to a search upon arrival. They've also purchased 2 walk-through metal detectors for each of its emergency room entrances. ER nurse Elise Wilson was stabbed in June by a patient who brought a knife into the hospital. Massachusetts has seen a 30% increase in the number of farms over the past 15 years. And the state's Farm Bureau Federation says wants those farm owners to be heard by legislators. As our Brittany Schaefer explains, the Bureau is now trying to put 2 bills into law.
The Massachusetts Farm Bureau Federation touring several Worcester County farms today. The tour aims to help farmers' voices and concerns be heard.
We really need people to hear the voice of farmers.
It's the job of the Massachusetts Farm Bureau Federation to advocate for legislation helping the state's farmers. Heidi Cooper is the manager of Cooper's HILLTOP farm in Rochdale. She says the Federation is a necessity for survival.
Without them, I honestly have no idea what would happen to farms. We need it because without it, no one would be doing this legislation.
The Bureau toured several farms in central Massachusetts, including the LILAC hedge farm in Rutland.
We decide on what legislative initiatives we're working on that can best help the farmers moving forward. I think it's important for farmers to be able to connect with both our local consumers and our legislators to see the difficulties that we face every day.
The main topic Tuesday is about 2 bills the Bureau is hoping to put into law. The first is the estate tax, which could cost farmers inheriting land hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Unfortunately, the way it's set up currently in Massachusetts is that property is based on its development value. So if you're a farmer and you have 100 acres that you want to continue to farm, well, you're going to pay a state tax based on that land based on its value as house lots. I've talked to people who've had to sell about 1/3 of the land to pay the estate tax.
A lot of farmers are very land rich, but very money poor.
The second is the Livestock Care and Standard Bill, which would set up a board to monitor Massachusetts farms' handling of their animals.
Everyone is concerned about how you raise your animals, and we want to show people that we're here to raise them right. So we think this board would really help address these kind of issues when they come up.
What we propose is legislation that put local humane organizations, farmers, and veterinary organizations together to really develop and implement policy and regulations on how farm animals are treated humanely.
Now, the Livestock Care and Standard Bill went through hearings last week, but Cooper says it would be a few years before a board would go into action. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Dozens of young patients at UMass Memorial Children's Medical Center got a surprise visit today from a central Massachusetts fire department. Gardner firefighters used stuffed animals at car crash scenes to help comfort children and say they want to do the same for kids in the ICU. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
This one? Michael Coburn picks out a new stuffed animal. The 10-year-old has asthma and was admitted to UMass Memorial Children's Medical Center last weekend.
I was surprised how many he had.
Lieutenant Eric Hewlett wheeled in more than 150 stuffed animals Tuesday. The Gardner Fire Department donated them to the pediatric ICU.
It makes me feel good that we're able to share some happiness with them here.
Lieutenant Hewlett says the department carries stuffed animals on fire trucks to comfort children. He says word got out on social media and the residents of Gardner donated more than 500.
Before we knew it, we were running out of room to store all these stuffed animals.
His wife Denise, a nurse in the pediatric ICU, says they were running low on toys and thought it would be a great idea to donate some of them to sick children.
I know how important these stuffed animals are to our children when they're scared and sick or injured. You know, it's just something that they take comfort from.
Michael isn't sure what he's going to name his new dog yet, but is thankful for the new friend.
There it is. It's very nice, very kind.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News.